I think there are some very interesting examples in North America. And I'll point out a couple of stories that you may have heard about. One in New York City, which is not generally thought of as a center of innovation, science, and technology. You generally think of Silicon Valley, San Francisco, the Bay Area, or Boston. Mayor Bloomberg made a decision about 8 years ago that in order to compete after the financial crash, they needed to diversify the economy. So he launched an international competition to create a new university. It ended up partnering with two non-New York universities, well, Cornell, which is from a different part of the state, and an Israeli university, building a brand new $5 billion campus in the middle of the river on the site of a hospital. But here's the interesting thing. Unlike the classic university campus model, Roosevelt Island, Technion as it's called, was created from the beginning to merge innovation, the commercial sector, incubators, accelerators in the same place. So it's both business, economic development, and academic focused in one place. The idea being, can we create an ecosystem where from the very beginning, we're combining the elements that Rene mentioned at the doorstep of a fantastic, great city. And the other example, which is an interesting evolution, how many of you have been to the Bay Area, to Silicon Valley, seen Palo Alto and all of the technology campuses? It's one big science park. From San Francisco to San Jose is 50 miles, 70 kilometers of science parks. Many of those companies, Google, Facebook, a lot of the startup businesses that have come out of those, Stanford University, Berkeley on the other side of the bay, are moving back to San Francisco because they can't attract talent to their suburban science park-like environments. So an area of San Francisco known as SoMa, south of Market, which is old brick warehouse buildings where people can walk to work, where they can walk to shop, where there's an environment, an urban environment that the millennials and 20-somethings value, is winning out over what has historically been known as the most vibrant science campus in America. You see that now, just lastly, happening on this side of the Atlantic in Cambridge in the UK. There's an expansion of the university and the city together to create a joint district which merges university and science. And Imperial University in London, building a new campus just west Hammersmith in London, which combines retail, housing, incubators, and jobs, all in one integrated zone. So I think looking forward, the kind of suburbanization of science parks, like everything else, is now moving back into center cities and represents a unique real estate investment and development opportunity.
I mean, that's quite interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Rene. Yep.
Two additional remarks on that, just to reinforce your statement about New York. It's really something which we have seen over the last 5 to 10 years, that is that cities, New York was never known for its technology, right? It was a financial center and a tourist center and the center for headquarters. But more or less that was the same for Amsterdam, for Berlin, for Moscow, for Zurich. And now what we see the last 5, 6 years is that all these cities have discovered that if you really want to have a vibrant economy and the roots for that for the next 10 years, that science and technology is important. So Moscow and Zurich and Amsterdam and Berlin have more or less reinvented the science which was already there, because Amsterdam has universities already for decades or perhaps more than 100 years. Same in Berlin. And I find it interesting that New York is also in that play of science and technology is so important. So it's really a trend. And I think the second element of the talent is very important. I'm a regular visitor of Silicon Valley, and it's really interesting that what the Twitters and the Facebooks, etc., would consider as old companies, the Apples, the Hewlett-Packards, etc., they are in the suburbs. They are in Cupertino and Palo Alto and all these mid-sized cities, let's say, where they have their huge campuses. And that the new generation is looking downtown. And that's talent-based. In the US, you had last year a large discussed relocation of the headquarters, which is a different type of organization, but the headquarters of General Electric being one of the largest companies in the world. They moved from Connecticut to Boston, and everybody expected that they would have a large campus around the ring roads in Boston, and they actually went downtown. Yeah. So that talent element is a very important element let's say, for the people to work in a science tech environment, but also for companies you want to attract to be sure that that talent base is there.